call the regular meeting for the month of April to order. We can rise and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Jankowski. Here. Trustee Dover.
Here.
Trustee Guerrero. Here. Trustee Nona.
Here.
Trustee Tripoli.
Here.
Trustee Succi.
Here.
President Myson.
Here.
Treasurer Nolan Dilber. Here. Clerk Yusuf is here.
Approval of the agenda. I have two items to add under new business. Item G is I would like to add an agenda item for a street committee meeting, so we can have set up a meeting date for the streets committee. And then after call from the floor, we will do closed session for attorney-client privilege.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve the agenda with changes as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Public comment on the agenda. Public comment on the agenda. Yep, public comment.
Okay, my wife and I are in suspense about what is the board going to do to us about the one parking handicap sign. The doctor sent in a letter. That guy out there named Sims was the president when this was all approved. He had it done and whatnot. Now, one person next door to us says, I'm going to park my F-150 there. Cut down the sign. My wife deserves the sign legally and medicinally. She deserves that sign. The board saw fit to let her have it. There's only that one sign in all of the village of New Haven. And so now, we're worried every day. Are you going to cut it down? And what's the reason? The code enforcement officer told us when we were here a month ago, I think. He said, we found the records. We know you're legit. We found everything back there around 2006, 2005. And so we want to leave here today and go home over there and not be afraid that the council is going to have somebody to come and yank that sign up in front of our home. Please permit us to keep it. It's been there 12 to 15 years. And nobody else in New Haven during these 12 or 15 years has come to you guys and said, I demand one also. Nobody. So why take this away from my 80-year-old wife? Please let us have the handicap parking sign in front of our home. Please. Thank you.
Any other public comment on the agenda? Seeing none, approval of minutes. We have the public hearing for fiscal year 2023-2024 budget.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Next, we have approval of the council meeting minutes for the March 14th, 2023 meeting.
So moved.
Support. It's been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Next is the consent agenda.
I'll move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Payment of bills, treasurer's report.
Approval of March 2023 payroll of $96,929.66. And bills to be paid for April 2023, $215,176.94 for a total of $312,106.60.
I'll move that we pay the bills in the amount of $312,106.60.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Roll call, please.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero? Yes. Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Rona?
Yes.
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
President Wyson?
Yes. Treasurer's report.
We have total village monies of $7,029,209.64.
Make a motion that we accept and file the treasurer's report.
Support.
Moved and supported. All in, we roll call this week?
No.
No. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Communications and committee reports. Item A, clerk.
Agenda items for the May meeting are due the end of April, beginning of May, please.
B, planning commission.
The planning commission met and only had one item on the agenda, and that was we had to set a public hearing for a lot split request. So we did set that. That's the only thing that was on our agenda for this month. So we'll have a public hearing
Before the May meeting.
just before the meeting in May.
May planning or May council?
May
May
planning.
plan.
May planning, okay. All right, Parks and Rec report.
Nothing much to report other than summary events are on the site. Nothing else, just some events running along.
Sounded like the Easter parade was a pretty good success. Everybody, I saw a lot of pictures of happy kids and meeting the Easter bunny. Cool. Alrighty, unfinished business. So item A, we'll move for the closed, that'll be covered under the closed session. So item B, the second officer extension. In your packet, I had included a memo which kind of explained the stance for the police committee after having met with Lieutenant McPherson. The number of citations and reports were dramatically increased by switching the deputy over the days, which makes sense. The deputies are working during morning rush hour and now evening rush hour. In light of this, the police committee would like to recommend that we keep our amended contract for the additional traffic enforcement deputies through the rest of this year. As the contract is currently written, it's in perpetuity until we give them notice that we want to cancel the amendment. So if we were to continue it through the rest of the year, it would be $255,220.47. It is a big number, but as our community has dramatically grown over the years, it seems to make sense to also have our traffic enforcement and the amount of deputies we have enforcing our village, to also grow with it. So I would be asking for approval to continue the contract through the rest of the year.
Was I don't know, I may be wrong, but I'm thinking that our original contract with the sheriff that we did this last time was a 3 year. I thought there was a final.
I'm sorry, the contract is for the 3 years total.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we did the contract, it was, like when they made the amendment, it still is at the same timing as the regular contract. but it wasn't just a 6-month contract.
Oh, yeah, for the additional officer, there was no yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I thought you meant the contract total.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry, I just meant for just for the additional deputies, it's continues on past the 6 months. Any questions?
So you want it for the rest of the year?
Right, so the request is to continue it through the rest of the year, continue to see how it goes. You know, we're heading into the warmer months, you know, summer months, we might see changes in, you know, driving behavior and, you know, with kids being out of school, we might see changes that way. So this will also allow us to see more of a broader, you know, what are we getting as far as the fines and citations, you know, our portion of that. You know.
And with the anticipation that the traffic is going to change once school gets out, are they flexible that they might allow us to switch that shift, maybe in the afternoon or something?
So we already have the afternoon shift.
That double in the afternoon?
Yep, we have, so
Okay.
we have the afternoon
Right,
and
you're
morning.
right. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
So I asked that question specifically because I noticed that the midnight shift, their call volume is heavy in the summer, and not so much during this, when the colder weather's here. And he said, Lieutenant McPherson said that it's not as simple logistically to be able to switch shifts like that in a short amount of time. So we have pretty much have to pick, do we want days or nights, and we want the day shift.
Yeah, one of the things that I personally have noticed is that I don't see people complaining as much about speeders on, you know, Haven Ridge or Clark Street or.
Especially Rich.
Yeah, they got Haven Ridge on mine.
they do.
That should reinforce me for my brake pad.
Yeah, they do have the 25-mile-an-hour electronic sign that they put up.
That's nice.
They, admittedly, I would have thought they would have had it on the southbound side as you're coming into the village instead of as you're exiting.
Oh, it's not a,
It's only on the outbound side. So as you're already in the 25-mile-an-hour zone and have been, it does remind you as you're going through Merritt,
right.
but, which is, you know, an equally good reason. They were talking about maybe shifting it though, moving it around.
Can you get another one?
Yeah.
I think so, I believe so.
Can we get more
I
of
love
them?
when it turns green and it says thank you.
Right, something like
It really is.
yeah.
Can we get more of them?
I believe so, don't hold me to that. I think McPherson was saying that they were talking about getting some additional ones.
Just periodically, you know?
Yeah,
Even in a
and
subdivision,
Just a reminder.
it is.
yeah, and at the very least, if they can't get more of those, he was talking about getting the trailer and bringing it back and moving it around. I think, didn't they say that they had some sort of issue with the trailer and everything? It was like broke down or?
Maybe
that's what it was. Yeah.
Well, actually, I really appreciate them on Clark Street, but it was the third park, so now there's probably no speeders down there, because my daughter lives in that street, so
Yeah.
it really has helped a lot.
Yeah. I know we've had maybe an increase in the amount of complaints about people getting tickets, but.
That's okay.
Because they fly on park.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion, but can I segue to something right quick back to the, because obviously we're not going to have use for the speed tables.
So we are still planning on utilizing, we were originally talking about doing a speed table on River Oaks and Decorah over spring break, but logistically it didn't work out.
Okay.
But we are still planning on using the speed tables. We were hoping to do the first installation on a residential street because we're going to have to shut down the street. And so if we were to put it on, you know, if and when we do it on Haven Ridge, that's going to be a little bit more work because we got to shut down a public, you know, thoroughfare.
Okay.
Whereas a residential street, we can just, you know, and like River Oaks and Decorah, where we're talking about putting it, you can still enter off of 26, you can still enter off of Gratiot, it doesn't disrupt the flow of traffic there. We're just trying to hope to time it so that it's not while school is in session.
Okay.
So we were hoping for spring break, just logistically, we were on a skeleton crew that week.
Okay, no problem. So I will make a motion to keep the second officer, continue the service of the second officer on the day shift to the tune of,
And afternoons.
and afternoons, to the tune of $255,220.47 through December 31st of this year.
So,
It's been moved and supported. Roll call, please.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
Trustee Nona?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
And President Bison.
Yes. All right. 27 Mile and Gratiot realignment, as with everything, project increases were given to us for this construction project. Basically, so Matt, do you maybe want to talk about this one a little bit just to cover?
Sure. So we asked the contractor and MDOT to give us an update on the status of the project, and they came back and they were talking about some extras and some delays were requested by the contractor, and they supplied us with some details. Apparently the quote that they supplied last year for the increase, because of the material supply and all that, they couldn't honor that price for last year. So they came back and adjusted those prices, and now they're asking for $39,193 and $65 as the village portion.
And then the additional federal funding, so the total price came to $46,769.49. I believe there was the PDF that had both of them explained in there.
Yeah, Brian and I met with them virtually, and we had them go on details and how this came about and the timeline and all that. And, you know, it is what it is with the material price and the delays. So this item is here for the council's consideration to move forward with the project. If we deny it, we will lose our portion of the grant, and they will delete that portion of the work. They will continue with the signalization, but not the sidewalk and not widening the road.
And if we improve it, when will they start?
Yeah, that's the next question.
Yeah, that was my
Trustee
question.
Dilbert?
Because the original grant came in way under the original, so the original estimate came in way under the original grant amount. Do these numbers fall within that original grant amount?
I think this is the second.
Right.
Yeah,
This is the second.
you're absolutely right. And we tried to throw that back at them, and they said no. Because the safety portion does not fall within that budget. Somehow, it's two different budgets, and they cannot increase the one for the safety.
That makes no sense to me.
I know,
I mean, because it's all about safety.
I know.
That's why the grant was given to us, because of the safety issue at that intersection.
Yeah, but there are two portions of that work. The signalization is one, and the safety grant that we applied for is the other. So when they got the combined prices, it covered our portion and their portion. With the increase, they couldn't apply more funds towards the sidewalk, if I understood that correctly. And the storm was a major part of that corner that needed the storm work. They couldn't cover that under the safety. Now I remember.
Yeah.
They couldn't add that. So they asked for the village to pay completely separate. If we take that work completely out, they could still do that, but we will be held for 100% of that work.
Okay. Yeah, part of the, to Smith's point, part of the increase was covering storm sewer that we thought was there, but it turned out it isn't there, or, you know, so some additional concrete, you know, infrastructure that they gotta do.
That's the northwest corner of the flood, right?
Yeah.
On paper, there was something under there, it's not.
Right.
Correct, yeah. We thought that was a catch basin in there, based on some records, way old records. They couldn't verify it, the contractor couldn't verify it. So we started adding more storm pipes to get rid of that water.
Yeah, that was about $30,000 by itself.
That was the first increase, that was gonna know the second increase.
Right. And if we did increase, we didn't really have to increase them because we did not.
Right.
That's what I recall. Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, at the end of the day, it's a, The total increase was $46,769.49. That would then allow everything in the project to move forward as originally planned, and for the sidewalks to be done right, the realignment of the lanes. For a brief moment, Surmet and I were strategizing about, well, what if we amend how we do the sidewalks? But, it's just, if we're gonna do this, you gotta do it right. And we hold everybody else to the same standard about sidewalks, we need to do it as well.
Are you still on what's our time frame this year?
So they haven't given us a hard timeline of when, but assuming that it does get approved, it will be put back into the mix for it being done this year.
So with that being said, if we get to the end of this, if we vote and we agree, there's not going to be an increase regardless of when it happens. Do you know what I'm saying? This is like
Never say never.
I know, but I'm just saying, we have to be responsible.
Well, I mean, the answer to last year is it's cost us more money.
That's my point.
Right.
That's where I'm
Yeah, part of the reason that it's costing us more money is because of the increase in prices, but then the other part of it is that sewer infrastructure or the stormwater infrastructure that had to be added. So that was the bulk of the cost.
Okay.
And since that wasn't safety, that's all our cost of it. That's infrastructure.
And that is really one of the bigger issues over there. Winter rains and freezes,
Oh, yeah.
that corner, that northwest corner,
It takes weeks for it to dry out.
it takes weeks.
So if we knew that the structure wasn't there, we would have added that improvement in. So we would have paid for it regardless. So what I'm trying to say is with the underground work, you never know until you start digging.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the increase in the amount of $46,769.49 for the 27 Gratiot realignment.
Second.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Bunkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Nona?
Yes.
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
President Bison?
Yes. All right. Next up on the agenda is the splash pad. So there was a revision to the splash pad location at Community Park based off of going out there, being on site, kind of talking through everything. One of the concerns that we had is that if the splash pad was put behind the pavilion and over by the well house, that it's kind of back and out of sight and not as visible. Maybe a little bit easier for kids to vandalize and whatnot. We have been having some vandalism issues at the park. So our thought was, having it up in front of the pavilion makes it really visible. It would be, and then, even people driving by, they see the splash pad and go, wow, this is right here. That's pretty cool. So based off of that, Surmet made the revision here. You have the revised plan in front of you. I guess I'm asking for a motion that we approve the revision for the updated location. Additionally, there are, on Surmet's revision, you can see future plans. We talked about a music stage over by the well house, so that would be easy for everybody at the pavilion and sitting in the grass area. They'd be able to listen. Additional parking. This is all future. We haven't even begun to start planning this out, but just drawings. And then even a future tennis court. Any questions? Comments?
Have we assigned any costs to preparing that new area? As far as taking down trees,
You have not.
utility extensions?
No, the council approved only the splash pad itself with the system. So all the other accessories or services, we were thinking either engage Paymar as your emergency contractor or D&J to do this kind of work. Because the time, I think they said 14 weeks for delivery. So if we go conventional and try to bid this, we will miss the deadline.
So I guess my question is, we're being asked to go through this blindly. So we got a $200,000 splash pad that could conceivably cost us $300 in infrastructure and site prep and all the other things related.
Well, that's the initial frustration with the whole thing. This was never a project, it was a bunch of little projects that the final number is never known.
Yeah, and so that's what we're trying to work towards. So now, with this updated revision, plan revision, then once we have that, if we have everybody's approval and agreement that this is where we're gonna put the splash pad, then we can go ahead and get all the pricing and get everything finalized and actually have, all of that for everybody. This is just, unfortunately, we are working with what we were dealt with, previously with this project. We're just trying to keep it moving forward.
Correct. So we're not approving construction tonight. We're only approving location and concept. So once we get council okay on this, we'll finalize these plans and reach out for prices.
We couldn't get some preliminary numbers just based on contacts?
We can.
No, we couldn't prior to tonight?
No. Because
So I would hate to give approval for location and then come back a month from now and here's some outrageous dollars for site prep and utility extensions. I think we should have had a larger picture.
Right.
So firstly,
And this right here, I think is, let's put together something that we can really see, how the splash pad is going to fit in that park. Okay, and this drawing right here doesn't, I know the park, and I know that 100-year-old tree has to be taken down in order to accommodate that splash pad, along with a number of other trees. And now you're right next to the playscape, which probably should have been a priority to make the playscape ADA compliant. So there's, we got a lot of carts before the horses, okay? And I mean, right down to the contract with this splash pad company. Has anyone seen a contract with this company?
the contract?
Yeah. Okay, then I'd like to have a copy of it.
You
Okay,
can
I want to see it.
Yeah.
Okay? And at some point, I would love to ask the attorney to see if that contract is enforceable and if we can get out of it.
I'd have to see it too. And I'd be happy to take a look at it. But that takes board action. I just
Sure.
Yeah.
You want to authorize me to take a look at it and see what's available and unavailable? I'd be happy to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the blame for not getting some more, concrete numbers and whatnot. It's a valid point. I hadn't thought about it. We were just focusing on moving the location of the splash pad. So, if everybody is comfortable with it, I'm fine with us tabling this topic. We can go back, get some actual quotes and come back at next month's meeting with some actual hard figures so that you guys really know what you're approving. I just hadn't thought of that part.
How How much money have we actually spent on this project so far?
It was the 50% for the deposit, so 90,000.
So we've already, 9,000 has gone right now for this.
Correct.
Yeah, it was a work order that council approved previously.
There's no work.
Committee, right, that you're working
We
with?
do,
Okay.
we have a splash pad committee.
Yeah,
That we had met, we didn't have everybody from the splash pad committee, but we did have, we did meet at the park, and then went over this revision before bringing it here.
okay. I just say that because we have to, if we're engaging in committees, we have to trust the committee. So
Right,
I just want to know where they were involved, they've been involved in every step.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, when we had the revision, we sent it out to the committee, they were all informed of, you know, the changes. Admittedly, just hadn't thought about getting quotes and prices for what the actual prep work is, so, I think it's a fair statement, we should do that.
You know, I think some of the prices that we need to at least factor in are some contingencies on the walking paths being repaired because they're going to be destroyed in order to get to that location. Okay, you know, making sure that the walking paths are put back in place.
Right.
You know, we probably got $15,000 worth of trees.
Yeah, there was 3 trees, I think it was, that we talked about that would have to be cut down. It might not be as visible on your printout, but there is a drawing of what the new concrete for the walkway would be. So, yeah, I mean, let's get some prices and an actual figure for you. Trustee Sachi?
I think if we're gonna pull the numbers to figure out what it's gonna cost to install a splash pad in this location, any alternative locations, we really need to price out what that's gonna cost too, so we can compare what those location cost differences are gonna be.
And that's what
Yeah.
I was gonna say too, maybe don't move it then, you know, to keep the amount lower, you know what I mean? Because our residents are looking forward to this, as you know, I mean, I understand trustee Gilbert, but again, we have to go with the residents' want. This would be really.
Well, you know, yeah, the residents want, but, you know, the surveys that Survey Monkey that I looked at, well, splash pads was on there, splash pads were not a priority. Additional park space was more priority,
Point, I agree with that too.
okay? And I mean, I'm not opposed to a splash pad in the village, but I don't think that's the location that it needs to be put at. You know, I'm still stuck on selling off the 47 acres, which should have been properly developed into a park. And that's where the splash pad should have been.
All right.
I have one more thing to your to-do list, I'm sorry, because there was this discussion about well versus,
Yeah.
could we do map those two comparisons too? Thank you.
So I did find some old communication about a year and a half ago for the previous location, no trees or sidewalk. The estimate was about 60 grand, in addition to the splash pad itself. So being that old plus the trees, plus, I mean,
You're gonna be at 100 at least.
you could be at 100. So total project would be about 300.
Which is over the 265, I think we approved total.
We would definitely have to bring back any additional, yeah.
Because that was my frustration when it was first brought up, was coming in piecemeal. I joked at the time, well, not joke, but I said we could end up with a $2 million splash pad and not having a proposal brought from us. That is what's happening. The cost is increasing because we're not approving a project, we're approving this and this and this. And here we're moving locations because that's not there.
Yeah.
With the original contract, turnkey,
It was turnkey for them to put the pad and all the toys. We were doing all the utilities.
And the fence.
Well, the fence is something that we decided we wanted.
see, I have a problem with that. Because if we don't do the utilities right, then we just voided everything that they've done.
Yeah. Yeah, admittedly, you know, I mean, we've had this discussion in the past. I mean, you know, the way that the splash pad was presented to us, you know, under the past administration, you know, we were all
like us.
we did approve it. We did vote on it, we still approved it, but yeah, there's a lot of things that could have been done better.
I think at this point, all we can do is just figure out what the next step forward is, whether it's pricing out each location presented to us, as well as Trustee Gilbert mentioned, taking a look at that agreement, and if that's an option that, you know, that best suits the council, then I think it's just best we have every single option vetted.
Yeah. I agree. Okay. And then, oh yeah, and then Trustee Donkowski, you said about the well versus city water.
Yep. Please.
Yeah, I know one of the things that Superintendent Gilbert was talking about was having the ability, based off of the way the infrastructure is set up for this, that you could basically have a valve that would allow us to switch back and forth between city water and well water. So that, you know, if for whatever reason there's an issue with the well, we can switch. You know, we would ideally want to stay on well as much as possible just to avoid water costs, but, you know. But yeah, let's do that. Let's table that for this month, and then we will come back and let's try to, for the next month, we'll try to put together a more complete picture for everybody. I think that's definitely a fair point. Sound good? All right, new business, Ways and Means Committee. So basically just wanted to get notice that we need to have a Ways and Means Committees meeting set up. We have our office manager, our DPW superintendent, and fire chief contracts are all due for renewal. So I've already met with the union representative. They've given us, she gave me a, what I feel is a pretty fair, updated contract. I'd like to get it to the Ways and Means before the May 9th council meeting so we can review the updated contract and then bring it to the May 9th council meeting for a vote of approval.
Let's set a date now.
Yeah, if we could set a date. I think it's Trustee Donkowski, Trustee Percoli, and myself.
Next week?
Next week actually is awful for me. I have something going on every single evening. I could do, if we were to meet anytime the week of May 24th, I'm available on any night other than Thursday.
I'm available any day but Wednesday.
You can make April 24th.
April 25th, yeah.
So Tuesday?
Sure. Tuesday the 25th.
Tuesday the 25th, we do 7 o'clock. All right, next up we have PLC upgrade, DPW Superintendent Gilbert.
Good evening. We went through the PLCs, the PRBs we had, engineered solutions Midwest come through, do a walkthrough maintenance program that we'll be installed with them, and they were going through our whole program. We started at PRBs, we went over to our building, went to DPW, and then over to the tower. The tower PLC is working, but it's still working. We'll leave it at that. The PLC at the DPW has already failed. The PLC at the PRB is working. These PLCs are old, just like computers. They get old, obsolete, and you have to upgrade the system. This is, I'm going to explain to you like the whole shebang. If this PLC goes out at either the tower or we got it to jump from the PRB to the tower without having ours function. If the PLC at either the PRV or tower goes out, it will be without water. Period. We have an emergency connection, but we will not be able to get the proper PSI from our emergency connection. So I'm saying that this program has to be upgraded. It's a computer it controls our incoming, outgoing pressures, our tower heights. It controls our system. It's like, it's the brain. So I want to present to you the quote, and hopefully we can move forward with this. Because also, these systems, it might take 6 months or so to get it installed. So it's not one of those things that, oh, it went out, and you come out tomorrow, doesn't happen.
So this cost here will include both of the ones that we currently have working and the one that's failed.
At our building. Because when they first did the door project, they installed the PLC in the old building. And it ended up going out in the old DPW building, not in the new building. So that, what they're gonna install is new in the new building. So we'll have 3 new PLCs, up to date, the whole program.
So we have 3, but to keep our system running, we need 2.
The 2, we figured out how to jump the 2. You need 3, yes. But
We need 3, but
yeah, we're running on 2 right now, so there you go. Exactly.
How long will these last?
It's a computer program. It's a computer. So this one's 13 years, so I think it outlasted itself, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think
Yeah,
that's
so it's a computer system, so in another 10, 13 years, when somebody else is standing up here, they'll be presenting.
You're gonna be here that long?
Any other questions?
I was just gonna say, and that's what my goal is to get that schedule going so that we know, in 5 years, we know we need to start thinking about that, and I can talk about it as well.
Yes, this is the first time this, because this is the original, so we got school, when Engineering Solutions, they came out, they went through step by step, everything on it. There's a couple other communities that have already upgraded, same issues, so they just, the time has come to start upgrading.
Good point.
Excuse me.
This is the only vendor?
Yes, this is who I deal with. Yeah, I don't deal with anybody else on our PRVs.
To your point about replacement and scheduling and all that, one of the things that, since I've taken, office, I've kind of come to realize or kind of seeing is that, a lot of things were reactionary, it's like when it breaks, we're fixing it. Which, it gets us by and works, but I have been going through the asset management program through the Macomb Infrastructure Council. Former President Pridemore went through it and then nominated me to take it. It's been really good and interesting. And this is exactly something that we would want to add into that asset management program where we're actually, figuring out, okay, what's the replacement schedule of our assets and related to the infrastructure.
Maintenance.
Yes. So like, for instance, say one goes out, Detroit pushes 142 PSI to us, we reduce it down to 62 PSI, it goes out, 62 PSI goes out the window, they're pushing 142, water main at the top. We can't control it. Or it goes to 0. So you have to call, I have to call, UWA, partner my contact, shut it down, but they can't follow it down their end. So it goes 0, and then we go down to the creek and get some buckets. I'm just joking.
I like multiple bids, but I also don't necessarily think the least expensive is the best option. But I also respect your relationship and with this company and you trust them and that's why you want to use them and I do accept that. Even though I do like monthly bids.
Well, I explained months ago
Yeah.
about this company. This company is the only company that's ever touched this system. They put it together. I've had other companies come out here and I told them to do it because I didn't trust them to touch it. But they were, well, I don't know what that is. If you don't know what you're looking at, don't touch it.
And Marcus, I say that in your support, because
Yeah.
it's very,
Yeah.
it's
I
easy
trust
for the public to say, well, they didn't even try to see if they could get a better price or anything like that. So that's why something.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just, this company right here, and like I said, they built this. They come out of state, they do the maintenance. We've been, have a working relationship with this company for years, since it's been built. I call it a local company, a couple local companies. We'll leave it at that. You know, if I touch that, I can't, what do you mean, you do your job, but we'll leave it at that. Long story short.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Gilbert?
Are you looking for a motion?
Good, motion's in order.
I will make a motion to engage with, what's the name of this company? Engineer Solutions Midwest for $44,165 for the PLC, programmable logic controls.
On the water budget. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Roll call, please.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
Trustee Purcolli?
Yes.
Trustee Nona?
Yes.
Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
President Mason?
Yes.
Can I say one more thing? As I'm explaining some of these things, I would encourage some of you, call me. I'll show you the system. So when you go in there, you see this big computer and all these numbers and how it controls. It's not a little small thing. It's a big, real deal. So, I'm just not out there selling, oh, let's get this, it's worth it. So if it goes bad, we're done.
To your point, maybe we can talk offline about setting up some sort of like workshop where just, anybody that's interested can come here and check it out.
Come over to the PRBs. Good luck.
Superintendent Gilbert had mentioned to me previously about doing ride-alongs and going and seeing what all DPW does. Admittedly, I haven't made that happen yet, but maybe we can set up a workshop and just all of us come out and go and
I'll be a tour guide at the PRBs.
And all you folks that live on this side of town can come over to our side and see what the water pressure is.
Next up, we have 3 items on the agenda from Mr. Surmed. So item number 1 is we have a water system master plan and reliability study. As Surmed said in the email, last study was completed in 2018. Ideally, we'd like to have these studies every 5 years. So if, so Surmed's budget is $9,703 to do the water system master plan and reliability study update. If you have any questions, I'll defer them to Surmed. Don't have any questions? Okay, we made a motion in order.
I'll make a motion to engage with Surmed for the water system master plan reliability study update for $9,703.
Second.
Then moved and supported. Roll call, please.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Purcolli?
Yes.
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Nona?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
President Mason?
Yes. Next up is sanitary sewer master plan. This one was, I thought was rather shocking. The last time that the study for capacity has been done for the village was 1999 by previous engineers years ago. This is something that recently came up. We had developers that are interested in developing a lot along Roselle. And there was questions about whether or not we have the capacity, the sewer capacity for the project. Rather than having them pay for the study, this is something that we're supposed to do on a regular basis. It hasn't been done since 1999. I think that this is something that, we should go ahead and take care of as well. Trustee Gilbert?
Back in 2000, I don't know, 18, 17, what was the saw grant for?
Storm.
Just storms?
Yeah.
But didn't we also camera our sewer system?
Not sanitary. Our storm.
Sanitary?
Not sanitary.
No, it was storm.
We didn't camera the sanitary and make some repairs?
No, last time they did sanitary was, that was before actually I was doing, because they did the Haven Ridge, stretch over by, not CRI, what's that, that other company over there, what, Motown, Snowtown is. And that's when they last got that, yeah, because I thought the same thing. Well, we went to the saw grant, but that was all storm. They found cross connections which had to be repaired, which is sanitary.
That's what I'm saying, because it was a cross connection on Midfield, so how did they find that cross connection without doing the sanitary?
Because they did a storm and they saw the sanitary draining into the storm.
Okay.
And that's a cross connection. Other way around is just a dual system. But sanitary going into the storm is a cross connection.
So how often should these be done? Is this the same as the water study every 5 years? Recommendation?
The state requires water purified. Sewer is a little flexible with that, but we'd like to do it at the same time. This way they're updated, every 5 years and we have current data.
But like 25 years is kind of a long time.
That's,
I know.
yeah. I love that.
When we saw that this hadn't been done since 1999, it was kind of shocking. And admittedly, the development that we've had in the village thus far with the subdivisions, we kind of already knew, what the capacity was for that. So now that we're having interest along Roselle, that's where it kind of sparks some interest of whether or not we have that capacity on the west side of the village.
Well, I'll move to authorize the village engineer to conduct a sanitary sewer study for the master plan, not to exceed $19,985.
Support.
Then moved and supported. Roll call, please. I'm sorry, any further discussion on the motion? Okay, now seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Capoli?
Yes.
Trustee Sochi?
Yes.
Trustee Bancowski?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Dilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Noda?
Yes.
President Bison?
Yes. All right, and the last of the three is the review fee schedule update. Sir Matt, do you want to talk through this one?
Sure. This one is the fees collected by the village from applicants. So this is not anything that the village would be paid. It's everybody coming in for a development that we have a fee schedule that the building department rely on to collect for services. So it has a laundry list of things that if the applicant is coming in for rezoning, let's say, so there's an admin fee, publishing fee, planner, engineer, so on and so forth. So the last update that we had, that we know of, it was done back in 2008, and Lori at the building at that time, she had some sheet with hand marks on it that we couldn't find where it came from. So there was a little bit of confusion about these numbers, so I got together with Brian and Becky and we cleaned it up and we came up with a comprehensive list with updated fees. So we'd like by the building department from that.
So you're looking for all of the ones that are marked up in red with the new fees?
I think that's the markup, the fee schedule 23, is the one that.
So the fees aren't actually changing, we're just looking to approve an updated fee schedule document.
The fees are changed.
The fees are changed.
Yeah, so if you look at the fees 2008 file, you can see the red markup of what the prices previously were and then what they're updated to. So in some cases, they've gone up, in some cases, like per acre price has gone down or was removed. So one of the things that Mr. Med mentioned too is that, even the copy that they had from Lori in her office, there was a separate version that was out on the website that did not match what Lori's map had. So it's just confusion all around as far as what is the actual master source for the fees.
Yeah, so the one cleaned up, one page wonders, it had everything.
The nice thing about the 2023 version is that it also breaks down the admin, publishing, planner, engineering, so that it kind of explains, where the fees are going.
Well, I'll move that we adopt a new fee schedule as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion on the motion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Capoli?
Yes.
Trustee Malkowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Nona?
Yes.
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
And President Myson.
Yes. Item F. Mr. Med, you want to talk through that one also?
Okay, so as council know that we don't have any sidewalk projects this year. So the gas company, they have an approved project which is going to involve some sidewalk replacement. So we thought that we can approach them and see if they can include some sidewalk replacement for us, and we'll pay their contractor directly. Hoping that they get really good prices, but after I got the quote, just compared to last year's prices that we've done with Lacaria, they are 30 to 50% higher. Now, Semco may see that as normal prices because they are all over the place and they have much more projects than ours. But I can't recommend council to approve this.
Right. So this was something that, technically it wasn't like a council motion that we wanted to do any projects or anything like that. So Matt was just thinking outside the box that, hey, they're already in the area, they're already doing concrete work, maybe we can piggyback. And if the prices are decent, then maybe we could actually do some sidewalk work this year. But seeing what they came back with, it doesn't seem like it's viable. We just wanted to share it and, be transparent about it. Trustee Gilbert?
I got a lot of words tonight. With the contractor they used last year for replacement, I wouldn't use them anyways.
Is it the same one?
Yeah, it's the same ones, and I don't do them either.
Same contract.
Okay? I wouldn't use them.
Thank you.
Because they're taking our brand new sidewalks
Right.
and taking out enough slabs, and what they put back in there looks like crap.
Yep, 100%.
Okay? And we need to find out what we can do about that. Okay?
I'm at your service.
Because this past winter, this last fall and this past winter, they made this community non-walkable.
Yeah, it was definitely, the fact that they abandoned the project.
They abandoned the
without
project.
finishing the concrete work.
And they haven't been back to repair the ones that were left over from last year. And they're out there creating more blank spots with steel plates. You know? I mean, I fully understand the need to replace the dash line, but you need to put the community back in order as soon as possible. You know?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that they just come in and they do this without any really heads up or anything. You know, we could have at least planned, you know, not to have done the sidewalk replacement until after they were done with the.
Yeah.
We reached out to them with that point, Samantha and I did, and we never heard anything back, and then they didn't show up, and they started digging.
We put a sidewalk on Clark Street, and next year they come in and tear it up.
Right.
When we do Main Street, next year they come in and tear it up. You know?
And I'm saying that if you don't do a stretch, and then like they take out 1 flag, 2 flags, those aren't gonna sit right. They're gonna leave, and we're gonna have trip hazards, so we're right back to square one.
Yeah.
I'll guarantee you, those flags that they're replacing will settle and become trip hazards.
Any other discussion on that topic?
So, just so like, this is the same contractor's prices? From
This
last
is-
year to this year, it's the same contractor?
No, so the 2022 bid prices is the contractor that we used last year for our
Well, I
sidewalk.
thought someone said well, this is the same one.
It's,
lovely.
the quote that they gave us is the same contractor that the Semco used last year.
Oh, okay, all right. I was gonna say, wow.
Yeah. Any other discussion? There's no motion on this one, so. All right, last under new business, item G, we have Streets Committee. Clerk Witsett pointed out there's some grant funding available and deadlines coming up. That includes road work, and it's specifically targeted to small communities with a population less than 10,000 residents.
Category B.
Yeah, category B. So we'd like to have the Streets Committee get together to come up with project ideas for next year, be for the 2024 calendar year. If I remember correctly, Trustee Crowley, Trustee Guerrero, sorry, and I are on the committee. We'll also,
We can apply for 2.
yes,
Me too.
yeah, we can apply for 2 of them this year, or for next year, so
We'll do the 26th, the day after the meeting.
the 26th.
I'm good that week too, so, does that work for you, Sabrina?
Maybe Thursday, 22nd.
27th works?
I cannot do the 27th, I have Macomb County Planner.
You can do the 26th. You can do the,
I could do like Tuesday the 25th,
you
right after the Ways and Means Committee.
Okay, what time?
How long do we think the Ways and Means Committee meeting will take? About an hour, half hour,
Should be a half hour if it's just a contract.
half hour? Okay, so how about we say Ways and Means from 7 to 7:30 and Streets Committee from 7:30 to 8? Okay.
I'll forward you the email that I received.
I'm sorry, what was that quick list?
I just sent you guys the email that I received, so everybody has all the information from
Oh, perfect, thank you.
NDOT for the category B funding.
Okay. Call from the floor.
Good evening again to all of you. I think my husband missed, or maybe he just forgot, but my son in front of my home was put in by Mr. Sims. It was approved by council. I don't know what year it was, but I think it was 06 or 07, maybe 05, I don't know. That's it. It's in the minutes of 06 or 07. Thank you.
Call from the floor.
Just a request to the street committee. that if at all, I'll leave it with the street committee right now, but there is some other things on Ambulance Drive that I would like to talk to the president about. But at least Ambulance Drive be considered. And it doesn't have to be a curb and gutter, it just needs a overlay and probably ditch or what have you. That's a street that badly needs to be done, and those in New England, it's the only dirt road left in the village to be done. And that's that you consider that.
Any other call from the floor? Okay. All right, next would be the closed session for client attorney privilege.
Yes, be made a roll call.
If we could have a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Roll call, please. Try and get quick,
Work it all
Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski? Trustee Guerrero? Yes. Trustee Noah?
Yes.
Trustee Popoli?
Yes.
Trustee Suchi?
Yes.
President Thompson?
Yes. All right, and we will not be taking action as a result of the closed session, so we're good to close the hearing now.
Is that something you can go into executive session? You're just saying attorney-client privilege. Under Open Meetings Act, you have to give more than that, I think.
I have a written legal opinion, and that's all we need.
Okay, he didn't say that.
So it'll be, to review a legal opinion.
That's fine.